In this video, we are looking at how to configure the custom post type UI plugin. This is a free plugin from the WordPress repository that not only allows you to quickly create custom post types, but also custom taxonomies to go with them. It's a really easy and handy plugin, but on first sight, it can appear to have an overwhelming number of options. Luckily, most of those options you will not need to touch. So I thought it might be helpful if I shared with you how I set things up and share some of the tips that I've learned along the way. Now, if all of this is sounding like gobbledygook to you, let me quickly say that blog posts are post types, and WordPress tags and categories that go with those are taxonomies. So in the example I'm going to show you, I want to set up a product custom post type so I can separate my product posts from my blog posts and give it its own taxonomy, which I'm going to call types, but I easily could have called it product tags or product categories. So I'm going to get off camera and we'll get started. So I'm here in the back end of my dummy product site, and I've already installed the custom post type UI plugin from the WordPress repository. And if I activate this now, you'll see that it'll add a new menu item to the dashboard. And if I go over to the first link here, add/edit post types, and click on that, this will take me over to my first settings. Now, in fact, we only need to fill in this basic settings area, these three fields. Although there are a ton of options over here, the plugin will select what it thinks that we need. So let's just see what that offers. So we'll go in and fill in the slug first, which I'm going to call product. Now the slug is what's going to appear in the URL. So here it's going to be my domain name /product/ whatever the URL is of the posts that I place under this custom post type. And we'll need to add some labels as they show over here. So it's asking for a plural version and a singular version. And I'm going to add that post type so we can see what happens. So what it's done is just below comments here, it's added our custom post type. It's given it the WordPress dash icon, the default one for posts, so it's the same as the posts over here. And let's take a look at what it's given us in terms of our fields when we try and create a new post. So here we are, we've got the title as we're used to, the edit area, and we've also got a place to add in our featured image. And you may not see this, but we've got slug as well, which goes with the title. And we'll just check our screen options to make sure there's nothing else hidden. Nope, that's everything. And in most cases, this is probably enough. That's the first custom post type created. But in this case, I want a little bit more. In here, I want to bring back some other options that are in WordPress. So I want to bring back revisions so I can reset things. I want to bring in custom fields as well, so I can use that to add in my prices against my products. I think I'm going to add in author as well, because I might decide to call some of the authors by brand name so I can attach those to different posts and display those in a different way. And probably that's it. We'll have a look later. So I'm going to do that. I also would like to move this up closer to the top because I think this is going to be more important on this site, and I'd like to change the icon to something meaningful so you don't get confused which one you're looking at. So that's what we're going to do. And finally, I'm going to do one other thing, which is change my slug. I used product, but I want to change this to products. Now the reason is that I did a video before this showing how you could create your own custom post type plugin. So I've already pre-populated this with some posts, some product posts against the slug of products. But I wanted to do this just to show you what it is blank and also show you a little tip as well. So I'm going to go down back to add/edit post types. And we'll see that we've now got the option to edit this. So I'm going to do this, and I'm never 100% sure how this is going to behave. So if I want to change this, let's see what actually happens. So we get, that's interesting. So it's given us this already. Now, sometimes I believe if I migrate, it brings everything over. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and just save this as it is. I believe if I don't migrate, it will give us both options. Let's just see what actually happens. Oh, it created it successfully. Oh no, aha, it did create it. So we've got two products now. Well, we don't want that. You can find, I think if you migrate while you're changing as well, you can find that you get a little error that comes up saying it already exists because it gets confused, I think, with the labels here. If you just started, here's my little tip. I only found this recently. If you want to clear everything, what you can do is to go over to Tools and go over to the Import section here. So this is really handy in the tools here. We can actually import and export these and save them and put them onto another site if we want to. Also, we've got a get code option, so if we want to place the code that we generate here into our functions PHP file in our child things, we can do that as well. But let me just show you this little tip. You'll probably be able to remember this as I have. We just need open and close curly braces, and then in between that we need double quotation marks. And if I click import now, it's going to reset everything and clear it. You can do the same on taxonomies here, but I believe that it will clear everything, so you probably don't want to do it unless you're just starting out. Okay, so let's go back and we're going to start afresh. I'm going to this time call this products. We need products there, we need product there. I'm going to add it, and we'll go over to the edit posts side so we can see it's back over here. And in fact, actually, let's just show you that I do have some of my other stuff in the database. There we are, it's all showing up now. Let's go back, edit post. Right, so let's try and make some of these changes here. I can't cover everything here, but because it kind of sets our labels up for us, we don't really need any additional labels. So I've never found a need to change this, so I'm going to just minimize that to get that out of the way, and then we'll move on to our main section now for making changes, and this is under settings. So these first ones I never touch. I want everything to be public and show in the UI. I want it in my navigation memory. I don't touch the REST API, so I move past this. This is the first one that I usually need to change, and this is has archive is set to false. So if I was to go to my URL and put products over here, it's going to give me a 404 page as it is because it's not creating an archive for it. This is quite handy in a lot of cases. You probably just saw that I'd been playing around with staff as a custom post type, and in that circumstance I might not want an archive for staff. I might just want to have individual staff pages and display the staff on another page, not have an archive page as such. So this is quite a good option to be set to false, but in this case I do want an archive page for my product, so I'm going to change that to true. I do want it to be included in my search, so I'm not going to exclude it. I'm going to leave this capability type 2 posts hierarchical. I don't need a child and parent relationship for this custom post type. I am not going to rewrite any of the slugs here, and all of this stuff, in honestly, I don't understand it, so I don't touch it. The first thing I come to is generally the menu position, where I do want to alter this. Now what it does do is give you a link, so you can see how you have to scroll down a little bit for this. Over here it gives you some idea of where things are positioned, so they're going from 5 to 100, where you can kind of change things. Actually, you can go above 5. Let me just go back and explain this. I also mentioned as well that I have got a blog post as well to go with this, and as you can see, I've added another form of this over here, and I've got all my notes here, so I'm going to add the video to this and publish it when it's done. Right, let me go back. What I typically do if I want it to be at the top here is that I put in 6 here, because posts are at number 5, and then 6 it will fall just below posts. If I try and put 5 here, it will still fall below posts. If I try and put 4 in, it will still, I believe, fall below posts, because that's where the separator is, which is just creating this space over here. So it's only when I add 3 that I can get it above posts, and it's going to be above the separator. So it looks a little bit odd being so close to the dashboard and being away from posts. So I kind of put up with the fact that it has to come after posts, which may be not ideal, but that's what I'm doing. Maybe somebody knows. I'm sure there are other ways to change things around, but I'm not going to bother. It's not that important to me. Want it to show it in the menu, of course. I'm leaving all of that. And I do want a new menu icon. So we've got a choice here. We can either add our own image icon, or we can use a dash icon class, which is what I do. So let me just mention about the images, because I don't think this is the ideal way to do it. You definitely need to make sure that you get the right sizes here, else it'll throw things out. But I've noticed that these have changed in the time that I've been using this. I'm sure it used to be 16 by 16, so I'm not sure how that might throw things out. And also, you have to be a little bit conscious about the fact that users can now change their color schemes here. So I've got one, so I'll just show you how this works. So here's one that I've got to the right size, 20 by 20. I'm going to insert that now. I'm going to have to save this now, just so you can see it. And we're still in the same position. There we are. Now this kind of blends in okay here because it looks grey, but in fact it's white, and the reason is because it's got some CSS overlay with the color scheme that's here. So you would need to pick white if you wanted it to work with the defaults here. It's not perfectly aligned here, as you can see, and you'll notice here that it doesn't have the same hover over effect. So if I used a dash icon, it's just going to blend in with the right rollover. So you have to kind of make a few adjustments there. Also, like I say, if your users are going to go in, let me just go into my user settings here and change my color scheme to something else. You can see it's not kind of working very well. It's almost disappeared until I hover over. So these are just things to be aware of there. Right, let me just go back to where we were, editor area. Okay, let's go back down, and we need to move this out now. So I'm just going to delete this. Oops, delete the rest of it. And it doesn't give us a link to dash icon classes, but if you just Google that, you're going to come over to here. And you could just grab this text, which I'm going to do here because I've already got it set on the one that I want. I want my cart, and you've got quite a few options over here. So let's go over here and paste that in. So that's done. Have I left a space there? I have. Okay. And now we'll move on to our support section here. As mentioned, I want to add in custom field for my price. I don't want comments, I do want revisions. I decided I might go for author here, and maybe I'll go for excerpts so I can have something different show on the archive page to what I've pasted in the main editor. And that's probably it. If my theme supported having some different templates, I might want to tick this, which means that if I added that, I'd be able to select what layout I'm going to have for that particular post, but I'm not going to do that here. I'm going to have one layout. And this is something which maybe some will not be so familiar with. There was a time when WordPress took some influence from Tumblr, and it allowed you to be able to sort of mark up your posts as either videos or quotes or audio or regular posts. And if your theme supported it, then it would display those in different ways. But it's kind of something that's died out, so I'm never ticking that. Okay, I don't touch this. I'm not even sure what it is. And here we have our built-in taxonomies. I'm never sure why we have this extra categories over here, but these are the defaults. So if I was to tick these on now, they would appear under here as my options as we see them in posts. So I'd end up with categories and tags, but I would be sharing these with my posts, so I don't want to do that. I'm going to create my own in this video. So we're done. Let's save this and see that everything's as it should be. There we are. I've got my products here, and all being well, everything that I placed in there previously should be there. Perfect. I've got my price custom fields over here. That's done. So we've done that. There's one other job that I need to do now, and that's create my taxonomy. So it's fairly easy from here. We've got a new section for our taxonomies, so I'm going to add that one in here, and this is quite a bit more simple. I'm calling this types, I believe, and I'm going to go for the plural of types here and also for type here, and then it's just a case of deciding what I'm going to attach those to. Now I've already created products, I can attach that over here, and I'm not going to bother again with any labels because I never do. And there is just one other decision I typically need to make here. All of these are showing, I want those. I don't bother with variables. I don't need to rewrite any of this. Typically the only thing I need to do is, it's here somewhere, hierarchical, that's the one. This is set to false, so this is going to behave and show itself exactly as WordPress tags do in posts. I want to have it work more like categories, so I can have a parent-child relationship if I want, and also it displays it in a way that I would prefer as well in the back end. So I'm going to change this to true, and assuming I've got everything done, we should now see, yes, I've got my types over here. There's just one last job I need to do, and that is to go back to my custom post type, and let me just go down and make sure that those two are connected together. And that's it. I have now got my products. Let's go and see. In fact, let's go to the front end of the site and take a look that everything is showing here. It is. Should you find that you do have a problem, which is, I think, fairly rare with this plugin, just know that what you want to do is to go over to your settings, to permalinks, and just save those again, just to make sure that everything in the database has been updated. I think the plugin does that on its own, but that's just one thing to check first if things aren't showing. So I think that is this video done. I do hope it's been of some use to someone. If you did like it, then as always, then please give me a thumbs up because it's really encouraging. And if you like these kind of videos, and particularly if you're somebody who uses Beaver Builder, then please consider subscribing to the channel. Hope to catch you on another video soon. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.